And the reality is many of the people who are standing here right now have been talking about the issues of gun violence in this building for a long time. And until you have a Sandy Hook, the issue is something we talk about, but as a whole don't do very much about. And so I think that's what the difference is. And I think that this caucus recognizes that at this time when we're talking about the issue of Sandy Hook and we're actually going to do something, that what we need to do needs to reflect the type of gun violence that we see on a more regular basis. And so that's why we want to make sure that the voices of those people we represent where, in the communities where that type of more regularized gun violence happens are part of the process. The caucus has endeavored from the beginning of this process to be a part of it, and I will speak as an individual here because I haven't discussed this with the caucus. To my mind, largely have not been heard in the way we hoped we would be heard. But I would say this, when we're talking about mental health in the way that we've been talking about it, we're still missing part of this, the conversation. And in the communities I'm talking about, when we talk about mental health, we don't talk about it the same way. We talk about criminal behavior. But these kids who are shooting each other have traumatic experiences, which are a mental health problem. And so one of the reasons we want to have a voice is to say, it's fine to talk about the actions being criminal, but we also, if we're ever going to stop them, stem the tide of what's happening, need to understand them as mental health issues as well. It's not just the video games, it's not just people who've been bullied, it's people who've had those instances of trauma. When you see those young people with those shirts with a friend or a family member and those buttons, and look at the number of buttons they have. You have kids with 3, 4, 5 buttons. Those are instances of trauma that go into that school. They become the barrier for learning, and they become the barrier for learning for other young people. And they become rage because it doesn't get dealt with. That rage, eventually, when you combine it with the fact that these people live in compressed communities with lack of opportunity, become the reason why they're the shooters on the street. So if we're talking about mental health, we're not just talking about the kid who has the realistic video game, we're talking about that. And we have not been doing a good job of doing it. So we want to bring awareness to that and say this conversation needs to be expanded.